Okay. So what I'd like to do is bring Amanda up, Amanda Jobbins up onto the stage in a moment. Amanda is the global CMO of Sage Group. Sage is the only software company in the FTSE 100, so we're talking a very large business here. And what's interesting from my perspective is I've known Sage for many years, but I've known them in a very fragmented, very disjointed way, if I'm being honest. And apologies to Amanda if that's not how you feel you are. But I think Amanda's got an amazing opportunity and an amazing challenge here to bring that brand together, to bring those parts of the business together. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Amanda.
All right. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Nice to be here. And thanks very much, Richard, for the invitation. It's good to be googly. At least they're not making me wear the propeller hat. For those of you that saw the internship, apparently that's really true. They do that. Said a 50-year-old PR director who works with us. So Richard asked me to talk about the transformation that I'm taking Sage through. Sage, as he mentioned, is the only software company on the FTSE 100, which I think is great for us, but not great for Britain. So we need a few more software companies on the FTSE 100 in my view. And I returned from Silicon Valley just a little under a year ago now to come and take on the group CMO role, which was a new role. They'd never had a CMO before. And the company had really operated in a kind of fragmented operating company model. So the company had grown very substantially through acquisition. And each of those acquired companies pretty much operated independently, not really leveraging the scale or the resources that the company had. And I'll talk a little bit about why that presented a burning platform for Sage and where brand fits into that. But founded in 1981, and the company went on to the FTSE in 1999, and had a fantastic customer base, over 6 million customers around the world, but fairly slow growth. And the time had really come to transform. There is huge change going on in the software industry, as Chris spoke about earlier. Actually, funnily enough, Chris Borman and I used to work together at Symantec, and I was just commenting to him that despite his 5 years in Silicon Valley, he's still got an incredible British accent. He's just lovely to listen to, beautiful voice. And I spent a couple of years there, and I get the American accent, so I'm not quite sure how that worked. But anyway, so over 6 million customers around the globe, and pretty pedestrian growth for quite a long time. And really the reason for that was this fragmentation of the company. We hadn't leveraged the scale benefits. We hadn't unified under a single brand. So when the CEO, Guy Berrier, brought me on, that was really the transition and the transformation he wanted me to take the company through. Unify all our 270 product lines and our multiple operating companies into one unified Sage brand that would excite the market and convince the market also that we're at the forefront of cloud technologies and the software industry as a whole. So a really fun challenge. That's why I got on the plane back from Saratoga, California. So Sage's business, very successful by any measure. 6 million customers. We get 36,000 calls a day from small and medium-sized businesses around the world. And they're asking us questions about how to grow their business. They're asking for advice and support as they try to grow from being a startup company into a small company and on into a medium-sized organization. We've got over 40,000 accountants around the world that we work with at the very least. We actually think it's quite a bit more than that. And we had a huge product range. In fact, we're the third largest in the ERP market, which I don't think many people know. So after SAP and Oracle, the Sage Group is the next largest player in the ERP market with a 3% market share in a very fragmented space. But a lot of really great things happening at Sage and some really great people. But as I said, fairly pedestrian growth, which was really our burning platform, if you like. The software industry as a whole was growing at 8 to 9%. The market were looking at us and saying, why can't Sage do that too? And as a consequence, we were being undervalued. And there's a lovely piece of brand work that I like to share around Sage as I'm fighting the good fight, which is a piece written in a textbook for MBA students. And sadly, Sage gets about 3/4 of a page about how we have forgotten about our corporate brand, how we've taken a path to focus on product brands and our divisions, and that this was an error, only evident when the market starts to undervalue you, which is, of course, what the market has done. So that's been very helpful for me to go around the company and scare people. So I've got their attention. So it was a burning platform for us. So about a year ago, I arrived at the company, and some great work had already started with a number of my team who are here today. Thanks for coming. And we really had to ask ourselves a very important question as a company. And to the credit of Guy Berrier and the executive committee and the board, they were 100% behind this, which is, did the company want to have marketing just as a sort of peripheral activity? Or did the company want to go through a true brand transformation where brand really drove everything the company did? And I'm going to talk about Apple in a minute, which is everyone's favorite, but I'm going to talk about it in a new way. But if you think about Virgin, for example, everything about Virgin starts from Richard Branson, of course, and that personality blows out into absolutely everything they do. And my favorite example is that wonderful video we all watch and now take for granted, but we were all rolling around the aisles in hysterics the first time we saw it on Virgin Atlantic about the security announcement, right? And didn't they do a brilliant job? The little cartoon, the funny voices. You're like, wow, this is different. This is cool. This is Virgin. Different personality, beautifully delivered. So we were asking ourselves the question, how can we do that at Sage? How can brand really drive everything that we're doing here? Because, of course, brand is so much more than the traditional marketing aspects, the advertising. Of course, that's wonderful, and I'm having a lot of fun doing that too. But it's really about how you consistently deliver right across the business. So we wanted brand to be central to everything we do, and it was a huge transformation for our company. So this is my favorite quote. Actually, the first section of this is really my favorite quote, that a brand for a company is like a reputation for a person. And the way I talk about this internally, because this is a very important journey we're on, right? You remember I mentioned multiple operating companies. They all had their own brands. Yeah? In France, there's a brand called Ciel, and it's the #1 product for small businesses in finance and accounting. It's our company. In South Africa, we had a company called Softline, a product called Pastel, another product called VIP. That's our company. In North America, we bought Peachtree, for those of you that are old enough, none of you are old enough, to remember Peachtree. Yeah? That's our company. So we had all these product brands all over the world, and even some company brands as well that we were trying to pull together. And these are the founders of these businesses, many of these companies. Yeah? So their heart is connected to the brands that they've developed and the businesses they've developed. So in evangelizing about what we needed to do to take Sage on this new journey to a unified brand and a brand-led business, I had to impress upon them the need for consistency and why consistency was important. And it's because, according to Jeff here, and I completely agree with him, a brand for a company is like a reputation for a person. So if you go into a meeting and you say one thing, and then you go next door and you say something completely different, perhaps about a person or something happening in your company, what happens? That gets out in the company. I'm like, ooh, Amanda said one thing here. She said something completely different there. Ah, I don't trust her. She's inconsistent. Yeah. So for a company, brand is just like that. You've got to be consistent because really what you're trying to build is trust with your customer base. And the other thing about B2B brand, and it was funny, I was sitting at the back, I arrived late, so I missed all that fun conversation earlier about emotional connection to brand, so I'd love to talk about that. But the other great thing about, the other often forgotten thing, about brands, particularly in B2B, is that they are a shortcut to making a purchasing decision. So our customers, much as we'd love them to read all of our brochures, all of our data sheets, much as I'd love them to do a detailed feature, side-by-side comparison of my products and someone else's, and of course conclude that mine are better, they're not going to do that, are they? They're too busy. They're too busy. So brand is a shortcut. Aha, trusted, used by this other major company, cloud. Okay, I'll check it out. Right? That's about all the time we all have these days, And we'll come back to emotion later because that's a fun topic. But anyway, consistency, absolutely critical in any brand execution. So bringing the company along on that journey took a lot of effort, a lot of evangelizing. But as soon as you start to explain it to people, they do get it. One of my other favorite brands that my team are bored of me talking about is Nespresso. Anyone got one? Couple of people. They're owning up now, you see. All that money we're spending on those little beautiful capsules, it's just so wasteful. But they're gorgeous, aren't they? I mean, they're absolutely gorgeous. And they taste pretty good. And they look great. The machine looks fantastic. They deliver it to your house. It's all very luxurious. And, we feel better because really brand is about aspiration. Yeah? And it's a reflection of what we want. That's why people connect with it emotionally. So Nespresso is a beautifully executed brand. It's hugely consistent from the stores to the machines to the capsules, the beautiful boxes they presented in. Everything about the experience is brand driven. So that's what we're talking about here with brand. So I didn't set myself a tall order or anything with Sage. So Apple. Oh, we love Apple. We all talk about Apple. Apple's really interesting, and in thinking about why everybody loves them, and I would put to you that they do love them, and that's why they queue up at ridiculous hours of the night and day to get the latest whatever. That's really a product and design-led brand story, as opposed to, let's say, the Virgin story, which is more of an experience-led brand. So everything about the Virgin brand is a little bit more messy around the edges. It's not this maniacal, obsessive focus on product design, product detail. I like to call Apple the dictatorship of brand. Yeah? There are great stories about VPs of design coming from fantastic companies with amazing credentials, coming into Apple to work on the inside of the iPhone, and not being allowed to do anything for 6 months, nothing, couldn't make a single decision, not a single decision. Why? They were told they weren't Apple enough yet. Just don't sit there and pay attention. So that, to me, is the dictatorship of brand. So although everybody brings it up, and of course it's beautifully executed and hugely consistent and is a nice role model to hold yourself up against for some aspects of what you might want to execute on brand, it wasn't really everything I wanted for Sage, because Sage was much more about trust and customer relationships and being a phone call in the middle of the night that means that you can pay your employees on a Friday. And we've got countless stories at Sage. One of the things we did was we went around the company to talk about customers. As Chris said earlier, everything must begin with the customer. And the stories were amazing. I mean, they're literally cases. Our headquarters is in Newcastle. And there are literally stories of our support people in Newcastle driving from there to Plymouth overnight to go and sit with a customer and make sure that they could work the payroll system on Christmas Eve. I'm not joking, literally, so that they could pay their employees. Unbelievable service. And our customers know that and appreciate that about us, so it's important that our brand reflects the truths about our company. So you have to find out what are those unique truths, and then make sure that your brand essence is a reflection of that. So Apple, great to look at, and a good lesson in consistency, which is very important, as I mentioned before. So what about Sage? Where were we? So this is what we used to look like. Oh, a little all over the place. We said we were an inconsistent brand, inconsistently applied. And of course, I'm going to show you pictures, right? I'm going to show you things about our visual identity and all the things that I guess everyone normally associates with brand. But we're also going through a massive customer experience piece of work across the company to make sure that the way we deliver our experience also reflects our brand values. So this is what we look like. Lots of colors. We had 22 brand colors, used in a variety of very interesting ways. We had this lovely, delightful 60s color palette. And believe it or not, that was only developed about 5 years ago. Amazing, huh? How things date quickly. And this was some sort of DNA thing. Didn't quite work for me. Some of the packaging. And when we talked about what we wanted to be for customers, we said what we want to be for customers is we want to embody what we know we are doing for them, which is we are building trust with them, and they're confident that when they use our products, they work, and that they can run their business on them safely. That's actually how they felt about our products. But this kind of packaging, this kind of delivery of our brand was just undermining that in every way. It just looks messy. It just doesn't look like something you trust. It looks very lightweight. It looks airy-fairy. It doesn't look like something you can bet your business on. So this is just one manifestation, obviously, of how brand comes across. So we realized that what we needed to do was take a long, hard look at our brand vision, and that had to start by talking to customers. And the first really interesting insight when we went around the world and did focus groups with customers is that no matter where they were in the world, because of course we're operating in, we have opcos in around 6 of the major geographies, and then we actually sell products in 54 countries. The contention, of course, was, every country is different, right? Every country is different. They all want different things. So we went out and did the research and proved, in fact, that there were 5 main drivers that our customers had around the products that they wanted, and that they were all the same. So a couple of those were they wanted a knowledgeable person to talk to, for example, and they wanted their data, their financial data, to be safe and secure. and they wanted the software to be easy and intuitive to use. So in fact, they all have pretty much the same drivers. So that was a great insight that we could start this work with. And from that, we also continued the conversation with customers, and we said, what are your concerns if you're a startup or small business? And if they're a startup company, and you will all know them or be running them yourself, what are they? They are lonely. They're lonely. They're all by themselves, and they're worried. And they set up their business because they wanted to sell fantastic furniture, or they wanted to run a dog grooming company, not because they wanted to do finance, accounting, and payroll. Yeah? So they're lonely. They need help. They want insight, and they want things to run really easily. That's basically what they told us. So out of that, we built our brand vision, which is to build business confidence. And we want to do that by being the most valuable supporter of small and medium-sized businesses, creating greater freedom for them to succeed. That was the essence of our vision. There'll be a test afterwards. I'll check if you will pick that up. So we wanted to create greater freedom for them to succeed, because that's what they want, right? They want to be free to succeed. We weren't going to tell them what success meant. They could work that out for themselves. But we know that they wanted that time, and they wanted to feel confident. So those were the sort of essence, the cornerstones, if you like, of our brand vision. And then we had to work out, okay, well, how are we going to roll this out across the company? How are we going to industrialize this? And what kind of campaigns could we run that would reinforce this? And very importantly, how could we get the employees behind it? So we started our journey. Here's some lovely pictures, because we're in a presentation. It's nice to look at pictures. But there are other things that went on. And this shows you from where we were in the 60s, as I like to call it, to a much smarter, more modern, fresh look. And I'll talk through some of these things in a minute, touching every aspect of the business. Job one, when I arrived, everybody had a different email signature, for example. Basics. So, these things are a journey. You start with the simple things and you build from there. And even now, people ask me, do you think it's perfect? And I said, it will never be perfect. There's one thing we know, 80% is good enough. And moving is better than not moving. Doesn't matter if you're dead right. No one will be dead right, and by then the market will have moved on anyway, so just get on with it and get something out. So obviously we looked at every aspect of what we're doing. So we looked at websites. We've actually updated it again since that iteration. We looked at collateral, and we wanted to feature very heavily these wonderful customers of ours. We wanted to make them the heroes of the stories, right? Not us, not our products, but the customers and the amazing businesses they're building, and you'll see a couple of good stories about that in a minute. And our events, we wanted, if we go to a conference, we wanted to make sure our events look good. Photography. The photography should convey a company that has confident employees, that are ready to help and really believe and are committed to the problems customers have, who are accessible and easy to talk to, and who talk in everyday language, not in jargon. So we did a whole piece of work on content review and tone of voice. So how do we want our product marketeers to talk to customers? We don't want them to use too much jargon. We want them to use simple, easy-to-use language that makes it simple for customers to understand. And so our photography, much more confident. We actually canned this one. Someone who's not looking at you doesn't convey confidence, so we kicked that one out. We looked at packaging. We had a lot of fun with this. And this was where we took a little inspiration from Apple, yeah, because we wanted that surprise element. When you open a package, the green is kind of the surprise. It's a treat to open this product. That's what people want. That's what people expect these days, because not only have we had the consumerization of IT, I've put to you, we've had the consumerization of B2B. Right? Everyone wants an experience. That's why we're all using Macs in the workplace when they're still not secure. So watch out. They're still not secure. Someone said to me, why don't Apple do B2B marketing? I said, that's because most people in B2B realize that at the moment, they still haven't sorted out the security aspects. That's my semantic. It's my semantic past. I can't help it. And we even looked at environments. Yeah, we even looked at offices. Because if the employees were going to believe, if the customers were going to believe, then the employees had to believe. And if the employees had to believe, we had to be living it in every way. And we did a wonderful exercise, actually. Yes, and of course, we're a £1.4 billion company, and we had some money to do this, although, believe me, not as much as you would think. But we did a wonderful exercise where we went around the whole company. I was on the road for the first 4 months, pretty much. And we got everyone in a room, and we said, all right, we want you to go around the room and tell each other a story about a customer success that you are aware of, that you've personally heard about. So everyone went around the room and did that. And then we said, okay, now we want you to go up to the person whose story you heard that you like the most. And then, of course, what you find is that people congregate around 4 or 5 people. And then we listen to those stories. and shared them. And so by sharing these customer stories, people were starting to realize, oh, this isn't just window washing, whitewashing, whatever. This is actually real. We are actually delivering these things for customers. And here's an actual story of an actual customer for whom we did that, for whom we built Business Confidence, who loves Sage. Our customers love us. I was just talking to one of the folks here from Sage, and he said his brother-in-law is an accountant. And he can't help himself. He keeps going, I love Sage. I love you. We do tell him to try and get a life, but he genuinely really loves us. So when people connect with a brand, it connects with them emotionally. So I disagree with the earlier conversation. Why? Because a brand is an expression of our own needs and our own wants. And if we get those needs and wants met, as we do in relationships, then we feel love, we feel attraction, we feel compelled. Yeah? So that is what happens to people with brands. And we know that because Harley-Davidson bikers all around the world are tattooing the bloody thing on their backside. So you can't tell me that's not love. I'm not going to do it myself, but you know. Anyway, so we had a look at environments, and again, we wanted to modernize and refresh and make the environments look confident, look modern, because the other thing we wanted to convey to our markets, to our customers, to our investors, to our partners, is that we are a modern company that is at the forefront, actually, of software development. There's amazing work going on, actually, in Sage, and it was a delight for me and an honor, really, to have the opportunity to expose all this greatness, frankly, because they'd been hiding it in the, with the girl with the ponytail and the glasses and like the really unattractive clothes. That was kind of Sage, but underneath, it's a beautiful thing. So another example of an environment, we decided we would make our employees the stars. Employees and customers are the stars at Sage. And so we decided not to put photography up, but to just echo the brand through the colors, so that what becomes the art is the employees as they sit in the meeting room. That's what you can see when you're next door. So we have executed over the last 12 months, much to the exhaustion of me and my team and a sad lack of social life, I think a really great job in brand consistency. And the lack of social life was brought home to me the other day when my son said, Mummy, I've opened a LinkedIn account. I am CEO of my own business. Will you connect with me? I thought, I'm not going home enough. And LinkedIn is great for B2B. You must get involved with that if you're not already. So we have executed a really nice piece of work right across the business. It's only step one. This is going to be a 5-year journey, frankly. But we've made a really good start. So before I move on to the next one, actually, what I wanted to show you was one of the big challenges, of course, with any transformation, whether it's brand, whether it's people-related, is getting the buy-in of your employees. So we spent a huge amount of time on that first. And in fact, people are still coming up to me and saying, okay, Amanda, when are we going to do this with partners? And I said, no, first, we've got to get everyone in the company behind this, and then we'll move on to partners. So one of the things my team did was put together a video to talk about these heroes, our customers, right? And what their life was really like. Because if we understand what their life is really like, we recognize inside how we're really helping them and why it's important and why it connects with the emotions, and that's what we wanted to do. So we put together this video and shared it right around the company. And there's a lot of cries to use it as a TV ad, but we haven't decided to do that yet. So let's play that.
Here they are, hard at it again. From the first moments of every new day, through to the start of yet another. From the very smallest startup, right through to medium-sized businesses. It is their ideas, ambitions, and hard work that make them the economic engine that drives our world. Here's to them, the everyday heroes. Their destiny is in their own hands. Where others only see complex challenges, hurdles, and barriers, they see opportunity and a chance to build their legacy. And then there's the incredible sacrifice. From the countless late nights to the long, long days on the road. From all the missed meals to the missed moments that really matter. At Sage, we understand that every hero's journey is unique. We aim to be their most valuable supporter by creating greater freedom for them to succeed. When they face complex issues, we bring simplicity. When they are preparing to take a risk, we give them control. When they need to focus upon efficiency, we have smart software and services that are secure and easy to use. And when they want someone to lean on, our people are here to help. So whatever their need, we are by their side, building their business confidence every step of the way. Confidence is infectious. The more we give to our customers and each other, the more we get in return. Because their confidence begins with ours.
So that was a critical part of inspiring employees to believe in the new mission. Yeah, they suddenly thought, oh God, I don't just work at a software company. I'm helping that guy run that business that's running my economy in my country. And they really connected with that. That's the emotional connection. If you don't have emotional connection, then I think you're failing in marketing. So I'm probably out of time. I think the clock stopped. But lessons learned, I'm sure we'll have some questions, but some lessons learned. You do need senior leadership to be behind what you're doing. And communication is job one. And education as well. Education. So I and my team spend a lot of time going through workshops with everyone in the organization, talking about great brands and what made them great brands. And we heard some really fun stories from all our employees about different brands in different countries around the world. And we challenge them to think about why they love that brand. What was it about that? And then we work with them actually on creating some concepts that would go into marketing. And that also helped to really engage them in the process. But I have to say, I was very pleased, genuinely, with all the Sage employees. They're an amazing bunch, and they're pretty fast moving, despite what people might have said outside the company. They really got on board with the transformation very quickly. So in 12 months, we've moved things forward, leaps and bounds. So I think I'm probably out of time with that. Where is Richard? I've lost him. Great, thank you very much.
Amanda, you may be out of time, but I need you back up here. I'm going to take some questions because I thought that was fascinating insight into basically the change management process that you've been through. And every change management process that I've ever been involved in, there's always been, as we at Google call, a poo in the pool. Somebody that is just saying no, and everything is but. Yeah. So who was, or what role was the most challenging? And corporate comms are just head in hands at the moment.
We're over there, we all know.
Okay, from your wider experience, what types of roles could be the most challenging for other companies to do this sort of transformation?
Well, it's always sales leaders. What can I say? It's always sales leaders. Because they're A-types, because they're hugely driven, because they're very close to the customer, so they think they know best, and quite often they have really great ideas. So I always make them my best friends. But they are the hardest people to convince every time. So you just have to spend a huge amount of time with them, really. I mean, you literally, it was interesting, talking about CIO. So I tell you, my best friends are always the heads of sales, the CIO, and the CFO, every time. And they're brilliant leaders, and I love being their best friend, to be honest. But you have to have that if you're going to make change happen. We talk about 21st century CMO. That's critical, the relationships you have at the board level with those people, or even if you're not on the board, just, the level below.
Fantastic. And at that board level, to the CEO, what was the driving message that you took to him or her or them? What, was it just the stock price, or what was it that really?
Well, I was helped by the nice article someone decided to write about us to say that we, that we missed an opportunity there. I mean, to be fair, we're all consumers. And we are all in receipt of marketing. We know that. So I tell a lot of stories to my leadership about their cars. Classic one, right? But it appeals to everybody, yeah? So I say to them, why exactly did you buy that BMW? Did you buy it because you got a fantastic piece of direct mail through the door? Or was it that you went to the showroom and the showroom was beautiful? Or was it that the lady that sold you the car was pretty good looking and really helpful and really knowledgeable about the car? Or was it that the car does 0 to 60 in a given time? Or was it that you saw some fantastic advertising that made you think, aha, people like me drive that kind of car? Which one of those, and in exactly what proportion, made you decide to buy a BMW? And of course, they don't know. So you have to explain to them that there is an emotional element, and all these things come together at a moment in time. And you have to be where the customer is ready to make a purchasing decision. We know now, and again, a couple of the other speakers talked about it, that 70% of all buying decisions are reached online now in B2B before they ever contact a salesperson. So the other message I like to deliver to the leadership of the business is that the decision's already made before they talk to us, and you are not the customer. So, and everybody recognizes this in themselves, because I asked them, how do you buy? You just bought something, how did you buy it? And they know they went online, they know they talked to their friends, and they made a decision based on that. So it's good because everybody's consuming marketing like never before. So in a way, if you tell them stories about their own life and how they make consumption and purchase decisions, they can't lie to you. I know how they make those decisions, and they know too. So
it's about that personal connection, both internally and externally.
Yeah.
I'll just open it up. Is there any questions from the floor? We've got one over on the left-hand side. Again, if you could just let us know your name and your company.
Yeah, hi. My name is James Meekings, and I work for a company called Funding Circle. And we allow businesses to borrow money directly from people all over the UK. I just wonder, when you're thinking about the brand and how you bring that to life, have you kind of thought about new types of partners that you would work with to do that as well? Because what we're looking at here is kind of the traditional things. Right. And one of the things, as a new business, we think is, we can help kind of corporates get closer to their business customers. Yeah. So, how do you think about partners to help bring that brand to life?
Absolutely. Yeah, really good question. And another one of my little favorite phrases inside the company is that we're changing the perception of the company by changing the company we keep. So Sage probably wouldn't have been on stage with Google, even though we already had a relationship with Google and we're already working with them, for example. But making sure that people are aware of the kind of partnerships you already have is step one. And then step two, yes, we're looking very extensively expanding what we call connected services, which is how we add additional value to our customers. Because remember, the brand vision is that we are the most valuable supporter to small and medium-sized businesses. So that could mean a whole plethora of things, and there are a number of different areas that we are looking at that they are going to want from us because we are a trusted provider.
I'll drop you a note.
There's a question here, Peter.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Peter Laurent. I actually work for Google. I'm responsible for our enterprise partnerships, and you were talking about partnerships there. How do you make sure there's brand consistency through third parties who may not always share the same values that you
Right,
you
yeah.
espouse?
That's going to be a long journey. There's no quick one there. I just came from Cisco prior to Sage, where I was running global partner marketing. And there is a ton you can do, but again, it does take time. So, my favorite word is it's a journey, because people think you can do, you can solve world peace overnight, and of course you can't. But having said that, what we know is that the customer experience our partners deliver is different from the customer experience we deliver. So starting there first, we've got to take a look at that. And then there are sort of the cosmetic, easy, low-hanging fruit things we can do around putting together toolkits, providing those to partners, and then taking them through training. So that's the next step actually for us right now, is we're going to do another roadshow. So I did that big roadshow internally with all the employees. Now we're going to have to do that either virtually or physically with all our partners and really kind of anoint them in the water and then hold them accountable to certain deliverables. We'll pick certain KPIs that we think are critical leading indicators of whether they're delivering on the customer experience and the promise. And then we'll measure them on delivering against those. And what I would like to do, I haven't discussed it yet with the board, but what I'd like to do is incent them accordingly as well. So there's different ways to manage that.
Actually, one of the things, sorry, it's not working. One of the things that we're doing is actually, once we explain the value of the brand, and of course at Google it's quite an important thing, is we get them to police it for us, because it goes down to the lowest common denominator. If anybody is letting the side down, it hurts everybody.
Absolutely.
And creating that sort of viral, more eyes in the street, feet on the street, is definitely what's keeping it strong.
That's a really, really good point. Absolutely. And it speaks to that brand consistency. Absolutely. As you say, if anyone lets you down, everyone's let down. So but you do have to win them over. It's the same thing. You still have to, bring them on the journey with you.
Fantastic. Amanda, thank you very much again. Thank you.
No problem.